I never thought I'd be the guy standing at my own ranch gate watching a luxury SUV jam itself into the barricade I'd built, smoke hissing from under the hood while the HOA president screamed into her phone like I'd just pulled off some kind of unfair trick. That was the moment everything flipped, when her lies, her fake documents, her smug little power play, all of it came crashing down in front of witnesses. But to understand how we got there, I have to start at the beginning. My name's Jake Miller. I've lived on this ranch outside County Road 42 for almost 2 decades. The land's been in my family longer than that, paid for clean title, no easements, no disputes. Just me, my cattle, some hay barns, and the kind of peace you can only find where the only sound at night is crickets and the occasional coyote. That peace didn't last. Because Denise Caldwell, the HOA president from the subdivision that sprouted a couple miles down the road, decided my driveway was her shortcut. It started small, the way these things always do. My motion sensor pinged before sunrise one morning. I figured maybe Rick, my neighbor, was checking his fences. Instead, I watched an SUV glide through my gate like she owned the place. No wave, no slowing down, just gravel crunching under her tires as if my land was community property. By noon, the same day, she was back. This time, she stopped, rolled down her window, and introduced herself. "Good afternoon," she said, tapping away on a tablet. "I'm Denise from the HOA Traffic and Landscape Committee. We're documenting community thoroughfare patterns for our Green Corridor initiative." I stared at her like she'd grown a second head. Community thoroughfare. This is private ranch land. My gate isn't a public road. She lifted her sunglasses just enough to give me that smirk, the kind people use when they think they've already won. Then she showed me her tablet, some map with arrows and highlighted lines. Looked official at first glance until I noticed it was more like sketches than real county surveys. I asked for credentials. She flashed a badge with the HOA logo and a business card for something called Green Corridor Environmental Planning. "If you obstruct established community access," she said smoothly, "we'll need to issue compliance notices. We may involve county enforcement." I pulled out my phone. "Great, let's call the county right now." Her confidence cracked just enough for me to see it. Then she recovered and said, "That won't be necessary." And off she went, leaving behind a twisted gate hinge and fresh scratches on my lock. That's when I knew this wasn't random. This was planned. I spent the afternoon building a barricade. Heavy timber angled just right, so if anyone tried to ram through, they'd end up stuck. And sure enough, a couple days later, Denise's SUV slammed into it. The sound was like a gunshot. Metal bent, tires squealed, smoke puffed out, and there she was screaming at her steering wheel, glasses knocked off, waving her phone around like I'd assaulted her. I stood there sipping my coffee, recording every second. Rick pulled up on his ATV while she was still fuming. He'd been getting letters too, all on HOA letterhead talking about green corridors and compliance. He showed me one looked official but had nothing to do with county planning. Rick said she'd been pressuring other ranchers too. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about saving trees or emergency access. This was about HOA expansion manufacturing evidence to claim right-of-way through private land. For weeks I kept finding more. GPS trackers hidden under cattle guards, motion sensors planted without permission, even license plates swapped out on visiting vehicles. It wasn't just Denise driving around. It was trailers, trucks, unmarked cars like clockwork, same times every day. Too perfect to be coincidence. I'll be honest, it got to me. There were nights I sat at my kitchen table staring at those fake letters, wondering if maybe I was the crazy one. Was I making a big deal out of nothing? Could she really have the authority? And what if the county actually sided with her? Part of me wanted to throw up my hands, unlock the gate, and let her through. Anything to stop waking up every morning with that sick pit in my stomach. But then I thought about my dad. He worked this land his whole life, paid taxes on it, left it to me with one simple lesson: don't let anyone take what's yours just because they say the right words. That thought pulled me out of my spiral. The next morning, I drove straight to the county office with every photo, every sensor log, every video I had. That's where I met Ellen Martinez, the clerk who's probably dealt with more land disputes than anyone in the state. She listened, looked at my deed, then shook her head. HOAs have no authority over private ranch land. None. They can't declare a public road, they can't install equipment, and they sure as hell can't threaten you with county enforcement. What you've got here is fraud. She pulled up records. No corridor studies, no easement requests, nothing filed with the Planning Commission. And when I mentioned Denise's claims about emergency access, Ellen had the fire marshal run an inspection. Tom Bradley came out with measuring equipment and proved my gates exceeded safety standards by a wide margin. When Denise tried to argue, he called out her paperwork on the spot, forged fire department letters with fake signatures. Criminal fraud. That changed everything. Word spread fast. Soon, we had 17 ranchers meeting at the community center, each with the same stories. Letters, trackers, fake documents, unmarked vehicles. Turns out, Denise's HOA had partnered with a contractor called Greenscape Services, a company already investigated in other counties for environmental grant fraud. They were staging traffic across our land to fake data for a $400,000 grant. If they pulled it off, they'd not only pocket the money, but also lock us into easements we never agreed to. We banded together. Shared footage, compared letters, hired a lawyer. The county and federal investigators got involved. And that's when the final showdown happened. One dawn, just past 5 a.m., my cameras caught it all. Denise's SUV rolled up right on schedule, parking at my gate with her tablet ready. 3 minutes later, contractor trucks appeared at the back road, slipping through in perfect intervals. It was like watching a rehearsal, too precise, too clean. I called Rick, and he was already filming from the ridge. And Tom Bradley, the fire marshal, was sitting in his county vehicle watching the whole circus unfold. They thought it was business as usual, but this time my barricade was waiting. Denise tried to drive forward, maybe to stage her evidence, and smashed head-on into the timber. Contractors scrambled radios, crackled GPS units, got yanked off posts. They didn't realize federal investigators were already nearby, documenting every second. The scene was chaos. Her SUV sat wedged in the gate like a trophy while her so-called committee shouted excuses. Greenscape workers panicked, tossing equipment into trucks. But it was too late. Cameras were rolling, witnesses were everywhere, and the trap had sprung. Within weeks, the fallout was brutal. Denise was stripped of her position, banned from HOA leadership for life. Greenscape lost their licenses across multiple counties and faced federal fraud charges. Bank accounts were frozen, grant applications pulled, criminal cases filed. The land they tried to steal stayed ours, and every fake justification they'd pushed collapsed under real evidence. And me, I walked out to my gate one last time with a fresh cup of coffee and read the new county sign, private agricultural property. Emergency standards verified. The motion sensors still beep at night, but now it's only wildlife or a delivery truck. No more fake convoys, no more HOA lies. Power only works if you let yourself be silent.